Yo, what's going on, man? Today is September the 13th, 2024. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show. We got a bunch of games on the board for the WNBA. I think it's 5 games all together. So we're going to jump into those and see if we can bounce back, man. I had a pretty rough day yesterday. I only ended up taking 2 plays, but both of those were losers. And we'll get into a quick recap as we always do. And go through a couple of the comments before we get started, but it is a big slate, so we're going to do just that. It was Dallas team total over 79.5 because I forgot to give out the first number and didn't even take it, didn't know the game was starting that early, but that ended up being a loser. And then I also had Miami last night, Miami on the money line, the Miami Dolphins, and of course they looked like a shell of themselves yesterday. So, I mean, they weren't the biggest plays in the world, so I think it was 0.75 units on both. So losing night is a losing night though, and definitely looking to bounce back from that here. So let's see if we can do just that. I'm looking to, it's got a lot going on right now. Let's see before we actually get started. Let's get some things going. All right, there we go. We should be good to go now. All right, so let's jump into it. Like I said, Dallas yesterday on the Dallas team total over. I gave this out live at the end of the first quarter, and they looked terrible last night, man. They might have given up on the season, honestly, because I thought if they weren't gonna be able to do anything, at least they'd be able to score the basketball. Second leg of a back-to-back tonight. We'll see how that goes. And then Miami just absolutely got steamrolled. I mean, Fort Tua took the hit, ended up with the concussion. It looked like potentially still had a chance. It was 5 minutes left in the third quarter. You score right there. It's a 2-possession game. You still need a lot to go right, but it was absolutely over after that. Backup came in. They go for it on fourth down. Is cooked after that. So, looking to bounce back today, man. Let's see what the comments are saying, and we'll get into the games that we got on the board for today. What up, Prestigious Prodigy? Says he's first. Top of the morning, Chris, my guy. Let's win some money today. I need it today. I need it. Prolific says, boy. The snide rears his ugly head. Not a good feeling. Let's lick back today, Chris. Absolutely. Good morning to my guy, Mark. He says, let's cash today. What up, Jose? Appreciate you for being here. Mr. Wipeout says, first time live. Appreciate you for tapping in this morning, Mr. Wipeout. What up, Marquise? Helms in here as always. Good morning, Helms. I thought about Helms last night. Helms says, I'm going to stay away from this Thursday night game in the WNBA and look for the big slate on Friday. And I was thinking to myself, like, man, I probably should have did the same. Shout out to Helms. Alex says, big slate today, 4 together. What are we doing? We'll talk about them. What up, Bissy? Appreciate you for tapping in as always. Can't stop. The Cap TV is in here as well. He says, boy, tell me about a rough day. Got reverse sweep 0-3 on the Bills-Dolphin game. The props I like Dalton Kincaid a little bit more than anything else under his 4.5 receptions. That was a winner there. Helms I know you was on the under, I think you said yesterday, Helms. So Bills definitely were a winner yesterday. I didn't think that the secondary would look that good. They looked really good containing the ball, keeping everything in front of them. Sean McDermott did a hell of a job last night. And the defensive coordinator did a hell of a job keeping Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill in front of them. So, yeah, shout out to them. What up, Skip? Appreciate you for tapping in. He says, let's bounce back. Mitchell in here as well. Young man travel in here. Drop a dime says, took a red day off, ready to get some cash today. It's a hell of a day to take the day off yesterday, Drop a dime. So I probably should have did the same. And Sheet in here as well. Let's jump into the games for today, man. It's a big slate. I do have the standings. I'm gonna come back and refer to this throughout the show as we feel like it may be necessary. But it's a couple things I want to mention. At the bottom, you can see line through the Sparks and the Wings. They are eliminated. And some of these games got big playoff implications. As you can see with Atlanta, Washington that plays tonight. Chicago will be in Minnesota where they'll probably get smoked and drop out of the playoff spot. But we'll go back to this and refer to it throughout the show. So first game up, we got the Mystics and the Dream. Line open with the Dream laying a point and a half, depending on where you were shopping. And this is up to 4 now. So people think the Dream are going to win this game. The total come down. I think I saw 158 is what it opened at. It's down to 156.5. So money coming in on Atlanta. Money coming in on Atlanta defense because they think it's going to be a defensive matchup as well. And as I mentioned, we just go back real quick. Atlanta, Washington, right outside. The winner of this game will probably have the 8th seed. I'm not sure how the tiebreaker works for this game, but we know it's just a handful of games left with the playoffs right around the corner. So both of these teams got the same record. Like I said, I'm guessing Atlanta owns the tiebreaker because they are up in the standings. Their name are at least over top of the Mystics name. But then, like I said, Chicago probably going to lose tonight versus the Lynx as well. So this will be a very, very toughly contested game, in my opinion. So let's jump into it. Mystics, first thing I want to mention, I put it at the top as well so you guys can see it. Rematch will be on Sunday in DC. Both two teams will play back in DC. So you get a Mystics team, 1 day's rest, last of a 2-game road trip. They got a big win in Chicago. So they stayed on the East Coast in their last game, and now they just take another flight down to Atlanta from Chicago. Last of a 2-game road trip for them. This team is absolutely sizzling hot, 9-1 against the number in their last 10 games. As you guys can see, same record straight up. But ATS-wise, I thought this was just pretty interesting. If you look at the ATS numbers, Washington has been a team that's been a dog a lot. They have actually not, projected to do well. So while these teams have the same record at 12-24, the Washington Mystics continue to just overcome adversity. 24-11-1 against the number. Whereas you can see Atlanta has absolutely underperformed. A lot of that was due to Ryan Howard being out. Of course, Jordan Kennedy didn't start the season with the team as well, but only 19-6-1 against the number. Washington on the road, 14-5 against the number as well. Really, really difficult to not want to back Washington in this spot. Atlanta, 7-10-1 against the number, and we know that they struggled for whatever reason more at home than they have on the road this season. And look at the Mystics' last 5 games. Number 3 offensive team, top 5 defensive team, top 3 net rating team. That tells me Washington wants this game, man. I like Washington in this spot. The Dream found themselves in some terrible spots where they probably should have won against the Indiana Fever. Ended up going to overtime. They had an overtime game before that, and then of course they run out of gas in their last game against the Lynx. So second game of a 2-game homestand, and like I said, coming off back-to-back losses as well. They do have a 1-day rest advantage in this spot. So what I like here is none other than Mystics first half. I mean, why would we go away from it now? They continue to be underpriced in the market. You can get them +2 right now. They're 24-11-1 against the number in the first half on the season, 12-2 against the spread in the first half as a road dog, and a perfect 4-0 against the spread as a road dog since the Olympic break. The Dream, 1-4 against the spread as a home favorite so far this season, 13-19-4 against the number in the first half. If the Dream, do win, it's typically a big second half. So can they win the game? I guess they could, but I do like the Mystics in this spot. And I like the Mystics early because that's just exactly what's been cashing. So I'll take Mystics first half here. May end up getting there on the full game because I think 4 is a tad bit disrespectful, but I definitely like Mystics early. Let's go through a couple of the comments before we move on to the next one. Mark says, Bills still own Miami? Absolutely. They absolutely own Miami. It is crazy how bad. And now if the game was in Buffalo, I probably would have liked Buffalo a lot more. I didn't think Buffalo's secondary would be that good yesterday, but that's absolutely true, Mark. Definitely own them. Chemu says, what's up, my guy? Let's get some money. We've been cashing. It was due for upset yesterday. Yeah. Hopefully we can bounce back today. What up to my guy, Justin? Mr. Cash Out says, good morning, Chris. Been a minute. Appreciate you for tapping in. Helms likes the Mystics. He says double result +255. So double result, for people who don't know, Mystics would need to be winning at halftime, and they would need to win the game as well. You can get them at +255. That's a nice price, huh? It's a very, very nice price. Crazy how undervalued they continue to be in the market too. Just continue to cash as a dog too. Like even without Shakira Austin, which I think that she's still ruled out for this game. I didn't give an injury report, but I think she was the only person on it. And yeah, she's listed as out. Ariel Powers hasn't played in a while. She's also listed as out. But yeah, I like it. I like it, Helm. She likes Mystics +4. What up, Ball Talk? Says love the card today. Helm says these two play back to back, home and home. He says if Shakira Austin is out, I'm on a Dream. Shakira Austin's been out though. She hasn't played in, I think it's been 5 games since Shakira Austin has played. Maybe even more than that. Let's just double check it real quick. Yeah, I don't know how many games it's been since she's been out. Six time in the last 7 games for Shakira Austin. So yeah, I still like the Mystics here. I still like the Mystics. I just think the way that they move the basketball And they're playing defense too. Like I said, top 5 defensive rated team last 5 games as well. Young Man Travel says, I like the under here. Feels like it'll be a playoff atmosphere between these 2 teams. I think if you like the under, you like first half under. The Mystics defense has been really, really good. I was looking into this as well. Maybe that's something I'll add on my short list is Atlanta and Washington first half under. Just because the Mystics, I don't know what their defensive rating is in the first half, but they lock up in the first half for whatever reason. They can give it up defensively in the second half, but they typically play really good. And Atlanta's got off to some very slow starts as well. So I like first half under a little bit more. What up, for real? Appreciate you for tapping in. Learn my lesson. I'm not fading the Mystics no more. Blunt says, yeah, don't do it, man. I wouldn't do it. Bissy says Mystics go up and over their first half. Team total at 39.5. What up, Ski? Ski's probably still up. He probably ain't been to sleep yet. He says the sun is not even up for like 2 more hours, Chris. Chris don't play. I got to get in and get out, Ski. These lines gonna move, man. Typically after the show, the lines start to move a lot. So yeah, +2 in the first half is what I like the most here. And if I'm betting this game, that's what I like. Let's see. All right, let's go. Let's move on. I feel like we did a pretty good job on this one. Next game up, we got the Sky and the Lynx. Line open with the Sky it was 11 points when it opened. Total was 157.5. So money come in on Minnesota. Money also come in on the Lynx in this spot. And this is probably the game that I'm least interested in if it's one on the board for today. And the reason why is, let's jump right into it. Injury report for this game. Of course, Angel Reese continues to be out. Diamond DeShields is also out. She rolled her ankle 2 games ago. And she's not going to be available in this one. I think the Sky had to sign a hardship player. I forgot who they signed, but they did sign a hardship player. I think it was 2 days ago. And then on Minnesota, they got a clean injury report. So looking at the spot for the team, and I got it right here. You take Ski comment down. So looking at the spot, you see that Chicago coming off 1 day's rest. They lost by 31 points to the Washington Mystics at home. And I mentioned it as well, right? Going back real quick to the standings. You guys can see it here. If they lose today, which I do expect the Sky to lose, they will be out of the playoff picture. 13-23. I'm not sure who owns the tiebreaker between them and I know they'll own the tiebreaker over the Mystics. So if the Mystics win, I guess the Mystics will be in this spot because they'll be a game above the Dream and they'll be tied with the Chicago Sky. The Mystics definitely own the tiebreaker. I think they beat Chicago 3-1 so far, especially coming off of their last win. All right, so getting back into it here. The Lynx, 2 days rest, first game after a 3-game road trip, but they do got to go back on the road. So this is like a sandwich spot for the Lynx where you got a big game against the New York Liberty coming up on deck. I'm not sure how much either team cares about that game. I know they want to be playing their best basketball during that time, but the Lynx gonna be at that's not gonna be the greatest spot. They're gonna be at a rest disadvantage in that game. Not to look too far ahead, with them playing the Liberty, but for this game specifically, the first thing I looked at was I know that the Lynx have been balling. They've been covering spreads. You can see, on the full season, just killing it. But the thing that jumped out to me was as a home favorite laying double digits, this has not been a Lynx spot this season. And it's hard to back the Sky because they absolutely look terrible in their last game. But the Lynx are 0-3 when they're laying double digits as a favorite so far this season at home, including a non-cover against the Chicago Sky, 79-74 back on September the 1st. So about 12 days ago, actually 12 days ago. So that kind of kept me off for this one. When I look at the total, I think the total is a tad bit low. I'm not sure where the points are going to come from for the Sky, just because without Angel Reese, that limits the second chance opportunities. But I'm not sure that the Sky team defensively, I know they're going to play a better defensive game after getting smoked in that last game, but they didn't give up that many points. Like, I think Washington did get to about like close to 90. And I guess that is too many points, but it just kind of feels like this game could squeak up and over the total. You look at the Sky team total, I think it's like 74.5. And you got the Lynx sitting at like 86.5. And I kind of feel like both teams will probably want to play. The Sky gonna want to play. They should want to play slow. But the Lynx can turn them over. They don't really have a true ball handler at the point guard position. This is a stay away game for me. It's not anything that I really, really like or that jumped out to me when I was looking into this game. Let's go to see what you guys are thinking about this one. Lynx should win big, but might be a lollygag night for them. And I kind of feel like this too, especially coming off that big win against Atlanta. It's just not a spot that I want to trust the Lynx in, especially with a scrappy Sky team. Granted, they don't have Angel Reese. I guess if I had to play it, Lynx should win the game, but I think I like the over a little bit more than anything else. And if the total keeps coming down, I probably will get there on the over as well. Helm says Sky first half team total under 34.5. He thinks that they're going to struggle to score 17 and a half, 18 points per quarter is a low number. But that offense looked terrible, man. They look absolutely terrible, especially if they're not getting those second chance opportunities. Blunt says Sky won't win a game for the last 4 games. They look terrible. Yeah, definitely with no Angel. Ski says, Chris, I sent you Kennedy's tweet if you haven't seen it. I did not see this, but let's go see what Ski sent me real quick. They just look so defeated, man. They look demoralized after when I was watching them in that last game, because I did watch that Mystics game. We cashed on Mystics first half. Ski sent me, shout out to Ski, my guy Ski. He says, so Kennedy Carter says, honestly, y'all gonna stop with the narratives. We went two straight after 7 losses. We just weren't us tonight. It doesn't change what we just did though. We got 2 straight. Opponents came in ready. We got to bounce back now. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one, because I know who those 2 wins came against. If we look back, right, and we talked about this when we capped that game, those 2 win games against the worst 2 teams in the WNBA. They beat the Sparks and they beat the Wings, and they scored 90 in both. The Lynx are not the Sparks. So, do they try to bounce back? Yeah. I just don't. When I think about the game from a matchup perspective, the thing that really stands out to me is, how does Sky want to score? They want to get offensive rebounds. The Minnesota Lynx, not the greatest rebounding team, but when you take Angel Reese out of the equation, boy, you subtract a lot. You definitely subtract a lot. Dropping Dime says he took the first half under 77. Good morning, Kristen. Appreciate you for tapping in. She says cashed on her birthday yesterday. Happy belated birthday, Kristen. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the weekend as well. Ball Talk says Coach Witherspoon gonna give me AAU vibes. I did see she said like she was okay with losing, but not in that fashion. She said it was embarrassing, is what I think what she called it. I did see a quote that came out from her. Helm says players talking on social media never works. Ask Michigan State quarterback. Then a Fig says, who's going to score to get up and over that total, even by half a point, Chris? Man, I don't know. Maybe Minnesota just not locked in defensively. I do think Minnesota going to be able to turn Chicago over and get out and score as well. Maybe Cardoso has a big game. Michelle Onyenwere plays really, really well. I'm not sure. Kennedy Carter has a big game. I mean, she's going to need a big game. I do think the Sky going to, fight for their proverbial lives as well. So we'll see how it goes, man. Like I said, not a game I'm super interested in betting, but I think I like the total up and over. 155, 156 are super low totals. Something I would only be looking towards the over on. Next game up, we got the Storm and the Wings. Game will be played in Dallas. Injury report. I don't think anybody is on it. I think I checked this already. Nobody is on it for Seattle, and nobody, I don't think, will be added for Dallas. But this is the second leg of a back-to-back for Dallas. So this line open with Seattle laying 6.5 is up to 8. Total open 168.5 is up to 171. Of course, Dallas Wings totals typically get bet up and over. Everything on the Wings side is updated outside of yesterday. So their defensive rating probably is 13th out of 12 teams now, with them giving up almost 100 points again last night to the New York Liberty. If they could be rated 15th out of 12 teams, they'd be rated 15th. This defense is terrible, man. It's really, really bad. I won't get into too much of it, but over is the way to play. It's already moved 3 points. I do anticipate it going up a little bit more. Maybe even the Storm team total to go up and over here. This Wings team, and I've been seeing this for probably a couple months now, but like I was just thinking about like historically bad defenses in general, and some of the things that kind of stick out to me. To play as bad defense as the Wings play, you got to want to run fast and not be able to play defense, and that's what the Wings do best. They run fast and absolutely can't guard anybody. It makes me think about like Mike D'Antoni, Houston Rockets when they had James Harden in the beginning, and every opponent was scoring 115, 117 points in those games. Like, it's astronomically bad. And on the second leg of a back-to-back, I don't think that it's going to get any better. Over would be the way that I would play this game. Not really, looking to. I don't even think you got to cap it too much. I think the Wings, I think they should be able to score. I know they didn't score yesterday against the Liberty, but the Storm defense didn't really look that good against the Sparks in their last matchup. And if you go back and look at it, it was Azare Stevens who was shooting the ball well, Rickea Jackson who shot the ball well, and they shot the ball well from the 3-point line. Storm defense hasn't been that great against the 3-point shot. So if you go back and look at it, I think the Sparks scored 85, 84 points in that last game. Their team total was like 75. And if they can, I think the Wings can in this game as well. Storm should be able to get up and down the floor and score. Could be a big game for Jewel Lloyd after she went 3 for 15 from the floor her last game. So yeah, I'm only looking towards the over in this game, up and over to 171.5, and the team total for the Storm, probably 89.5 is what I would be looking at in this game as well. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Justin says he put the Storm in his pocket, 89.5. Helm says he'll pass. Mr. Cashout says over 172, Storm versus Wings. Dropping Dime says he got it early at 168.5. And yeah, this is where I'm at with it too, Blunt. I mean, yeah, team totals. I mean, if you guys have access to Moneyballer, I always talk about, looking at Moneyballer. But if you guys have access to Moneyballer and you look at this game specifically, I mean, it's pretty apparent that Dallas opponents continue to just soar up and over their team total. The New York Liberty just did it in back-to-back games. And just put some numbers behind it. Wings opponents team totals are 29, 6-1 to the over on the full season. I'm pretty sure that's like 70%, probably 75%. If they're a home dog, their opponent is 10-2 to the over on their team total. Storm 8-3 to their team total over if they're a road favorite. So they typically been able to score. Well, I'm sorry. Storm actually don't score a lot, but I'm not playing the Wings defense. And if you just isolate it to the last few games after the Olympic break, Dallas Wings opponents are 8-3 to the over on their team totals versus the Wings. Second leg of a back-to-back. I don't think they're gonna play any more defense in this spot. So yeah, I think the Storm gets to 90 for sure. All right, next game up, Aces and the Fever. Aces and Fever line open, I think 5. Aces were laying 5 as a road favorite, and total open 176.5, I think. So a little bit of money coming in on the over. A little bit of money come in on the Fever, and a little bit of a different spot in this game than the last one. So both teams coming off 1 day's rest. Injury report, I should mention, I think it's clean for both teams. Fever don't have anybody. Aces don't have anybody. So both teams coming off 1 day's rest. It's the last of a 4-game road trip for the Aces. And this team has absolutely been cashing tickets. We talked about it in the last show, like in the under. They've won and covered 6 in a row. Well, I'm sorry, they've covered 6 in a row. They did lose to the Liberty 2 games ago, but they did cover that number. And a large part has been their defense. I talked about this, right? Outside of the Connecticut Sun, which we'll talk about in a second, this has been the best defensive team in the WNBA as of late. Defensive rating, I think, is south of like 92. Defensive rating last 5 games. So they've been absolutely smothering teams. And we saw Jackie Young do a really good job against Caitlin Clark in that last matchup. And they just looked frustrated as an offense. This was like the Aces have a bunch of veterans and the Fever have a bunch of new players, right? So you just kind of see the physicality. Fever quite not there. Caitlin Clark was interviewed after the game, and she said, one thing I think I can do to kind of combat their physicality is try to push with pace and just use my speed a little bit more. I kind of feel like this game, and I talked about it a little bit yesterday. It's not like a super strong play, but I do feel like this one goes up and over the total. I can see the Aces, like doing what they did in the last game, and the total still almost, going up and over if you took a second half over, because it's just a lot of 3-point shots being made. The Aces play their best offense when their defense is playing well, because then they can get out and they can push, try to get out and score in transition. So first one went under the total. I think this one has potential to go up and over. 177 is a super high number. Fever will want to bring it in this spot. Like I said, it's not something that I feel super strong about wanting to fade them, at home, because it's typically where they play their best basketball. But we'll learn a lot about the Aces, see if they can, kind of keep what they have going, because they've been looking really, really good as of late. But that was an emotional win. Asia did break the scoring record for most points, I think, in a season. So it could be a little bit of an exhale for the Aces. And it's the last game of road trip. The Fever also 0-4 against the number in their last 4 games. So I can see a Fever potentially covering and winning this one, I guess, if I had to play the side. The defense still looks terrible, though. And that's one of the reasons why I don't really like them as much. They typically play better defense as a home dog, though. Let's see. Going back to the last game, Mark says he took the Sky -6.5. Ski says, okay, I'm going to sleep. Good luck, y'all. It won't be too long, but you got to be back up again, Ski. Blunt says, even if the team total is 100, I still like the over. Wings are terrible defensively. I do think the Storm going to play with pace, too, so I like it. Jose likes Storms and over. Jay Holiday says he's on Mystics +3.5. Sprinkle on the money line, first half as well. Dream cost me a few times. Dropping Dime says it's apparent that the Wings are over this season, and I agree with that. Young Man Travel says he likes Joe Lloyd to go. He says he's averages 29 against the Wings. Okay. Justin going back to Asia, 27.5 points in his pocket. Hooked them last game. Kyra says she likes the Storm and over for her as well. Helm says he likes under 177. He thinks both game goes under. I don't have too strong of an opinion on this one. I don't really. If I get the first one right, which I did the last game, I typically stay off the next one. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel too strong about it. Steve says Aces running back, so he thinks same result. Mark says Fever shot so bad last game. I think they bounced back. They did. That was one of the things that make me think over as well. Just kind of going back to what Mark said, a lot of those looks was wide open too. Like I just think with the pace that the game is played at, it really wouldn't surprise me if this one, was able to get up and over, just because of the pace. So I agree with you this game, Mark. If you go back and look at it just really quickly, the Fever ended up with 75 points in that last game. They only had 120-point quarter, which was the third quarter. They scored 25. But if you go back and look at it, and like I said, the Aces defense has been absolutely amazing, but the Fever shot 40%, 39% from the field. They shot 27% from the three-point line. Caitlin Clark shot 1 for 10 from the three-point line herself. So outside of Kelsey Mitchell, who shot 4 for 7, the looks just wasn't there. Lexi Hall had been playing really good basketball. She only got 3 attempts, ended up with only got 2 attempts from 3, ended up with just 9 points. Aaliyah Boston was, put in a vacuum by Asia Wilson. She ended up with 6 points and 10 rebounds. So you just expect, pace to be pushed just a tad bit. I think I like over a little bit more. I'm in disagreement with Helms here, but I didn't bet it. Did not bet it. All right, let's move on. Fever +4.5, Kyra says. I think Fever can keep it close. I kind of feel like that as well. Jackie Clamps again, she says, okay, Fever can't hang with the Aces or the Lynx. And I kind of agree with that as well. The Fever they got to get better defensively, in my opinion. Offensively, they can score with the best of them, but defensively, not as much. Aces and under, Adonis says. Aces team total over. A lot of opinions on this game. I'm on the Aces. Can't stop says. May buy it down to 3.5. I'm still shaking my head because I agree with it. I never buy points in the NBA. In any basketball, I never buy points. Because 4.5 is 2 possessions. 3.5 is 2 possessions. So that's what you're betting on. All right, let's get into the last game we got on the board. We got the Sun and the Mercury. Injury report for this one is definitely warranted here because the Mercury have Kennedy. They have Kalia Copper on the injury report here. She is listed as game time decision, listed as questionable when it came out yesterday. She's dealing with a back injury, which I didn't know she had a back injury at all. Rebecca Allen remains out, and then Tiffany Mitchell on the other side. She hasn't played in quite some time. So this line opened, I think it was 5.5, maybe even 4.5 in favor of the Connecticut Sun. And the total open 160.5, and it is absolutely come down to 157, which makes sense if Kalia Copper, potentially might not be there. And the Mercury coming off 5 days rest. This is a well-rested team, and you can see how bad they've been recently. I put it in the top of the graphic. 2-7-1 against the spread in their last 10 games. They've absolutely fallen off a cliff. I also looked at the Mercury I looked at all of their games since the Olympic break when they've been a dog, and they haven't covered one. I think 0-5 against the number in those games, losing by an average of about 7 or 8 points. You look at this Connecticut Sun team, not a team that I'm interested in laying a lot of points with on the road, but they've been hooping. And I know we got to take it with a grain of salt because they just beat the Sparks in back-to-back games, but they look good in those games, and they covered both of the numbers. Coming off 2 days rest, third game of a 4-game road trip. They got Vegas on Sunday. And they look really good. They're defensively #1 rated team over the last 5 games. Offensively, I feel like they'll be able to score against the Mercury as well because the Mercury's defense, as you guys can see, last 5 games have been 9th rated. I know the Mercury need a confidence boost and win. I don't think it's going to come against the Sun, though. I like the Sun in this spot. I think that they win, and I think that they cover the number. If we go back to the standings, you can see that the Mercury are 17-19 in the 7th spot. They're not going to catch the Fever, in my opinion, being a game and a half behind, because I think that them and the Fever potentially lose today. But the reason why I want to talk about this is because look at the Connecticut Sun, third in the standings, and they still got a chance to catch Minnesota. Do they catch Minnesota? Who knows? But they got a chance to catch Minnesota, being only a game behind them. And Connecticut owns the tiebreaker over Minnesota because they beat them twice this season. So just some confidence, some things to kind of consider when you're thinking about the spot for the Sun tonight. I think that they win. I do think that they cover a short number here for sure. And I think it was one more thing I had in my notes that I wanted to talk about in this game. And I think that was 3-point shooting. You just think about the way that the teams like to play. Phoenix has been playing at the slowest pace since the Olympic break, which is weird because the Sun typically plays slow, but the Sun actually playing top 5 pace. And Connecticut, they've beaten this Mercury team 8 out of the last 10 matchups. They beat them all 3 times this season, and they've covered all 3 spreads as well. I went back and looked at it. The first time that they played, Phoenix scored 40. First time that they played this season, the first half total points was 47. That was the game, of course, without Brittany Griner. I think that was the worst shooting performance in WNBA history by the Mercury from the 3-point line. The second time they played, it was 72 points in the first half. And Connecticut really just locks this team up. They did score 69 in the third game. That game was played in Connecticut in the first half specifically. But it's a really difficult matchup for Phoenix. I know Phoenix is well rested, probably trying to get themselves right, but it's a very difficult matchup. And the reason why is because when you think about the Mercury, they like to shoot a ton of threes. The Sun have been the best 3-point defense in the WNBA throughout the whole season. So as long as they keep the Mercury off the 3-point line, I don't think BG is that big of a matchup for this, an advantage for the size that the Connecticut Sun can throw at her with, Bree Jones and Owen Dota. Like they have ladies that they can throw at Brittany Griner. And I think especially if Kalia Copper doesn't go, I'm not sure how the Mercury get to 75 points in this game. So I like the first half under, and I like Connecticut, just laying the points with Connecticut. I do think they can win the game by multiple possessions here. Let's see what you guys think about this one. Helms says he likes the Sun. Lay it. And I'm right there with you. We agree on this one, Helms. Dropping down says he jumped on the Mercury team total under 77.5 when Copper News came out. I like it. It's only moved 2 points. I think you can still get 75.5, potentially even 76.5. I think I got it in the recap because I didn't bet it yet. He says Copper isn't officially out yet, but this ain't the NBA when a player is questionable and they really are questionable. That's a fact. It could be that time of the month too. Never know. Just speculating. Young man Travel says Sun all day. Might even take the alternate with plus money. Okay. Helm says everyone should have their underdog WNBA Twitter notifications on the day because if Copper gets ruled out, we hammering that Sun -5.5. I think they still lose the game even with Kalia Copper in. Dejanay Carrington is a really good defender. I think she can slow down Kalia Copper. And the Mercury just don't look like a bet-on team right now. Like I said, just 2-7-1 against the number in their last 10. Mr. Cash Out says Sun in the points. Blunt says Sun won but double digits all 3 games. I gotta take the -6.5 here, Chris. They won by 7 in each game is what he meant to say. Okay. Kalia Copper on the injury report with back injuries. With a back injury, Mercury team total under 75.5, Marquis says. Yeah, these underdog alerts are absolutely clutch for sure. And Quincy says Asia double-double. Not sure what the odds are for Asia to get a double-double, but if you like them to play defense, absolutely. All right, we did a really good job here. I haven't made a bet today, but my top one is what we just talked about. Connecticut -5.5. Full first half under as well. Under 80.5, it looks like it's the best number. The Mercury have started off very, very slow for anybody that's been paying attention to them. And I don't think it's going to be fast here either. And I also don't trust Connecticut offensively either. Not quite yet, which is why I didn't lock this in. But they offense look good against the Sparks. Sparks defense is terrible though. So yeah, those are probably my favorite 2 plays. Washington plus the 2 in the first half, also probably something that makes my card. Seattle, Dallas, I think this total continues just to go up at 171.5. Because remember what I said, Seattle's defense, if they struggle, it's typically from the 3-point line. What does Dallas want to do? Shoot a bunch of threes. They just want to jack with Enrique Gomawale and some of those other guards. Satu Sabali should have a better bounce back game. She's gone under her points prop in back-to-back games. So yeah, I see points in that game. And in the Chicago-Minnesota game, like I said, the total is just a tad bit too low now. It's come all the way down to 156.5. I know Chicago struggles to score, but I do think that they can get to their measly team total of like 73.5 today. So these are the top looks for myself. Whenever I do place a bet, I will let you guys know, let the members know. I'll send it out. But yeah, if I'm playing the games, this is what I'm looking at for today. Resources that I use, as always, are here. Check these out if you guys have not. Referral code CBC will get you 20% off your first month over at OddsJam. I know a couple people signed up, so I appreciate you guys for using the referral code, getting that 20% off. Same thing with Moneyballer. A lot of people signing up for Moneyballer as well. You get 50% off using code ChrisBeCappinn. And that's where I get all my trends from. That's the thing that saves me so much time. And if you use it, it can save you time as well. For WNBA, NBA, NFL, MLB, I mean, it's a one-stop shop, man. I always talk about it. So big shout out to the sponsors of the show. And that's it for today, man. If you guys enjoy it, if it was helpful for you guys, definitely do me a favor, hit the thumbs up. Appreciate you guys for tapping in as always. Like, share. Let me know what you guys are betting in the comment section as well. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Best of luck, bet responsibly, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I don't think it's any WNBA tomorrow, but I think every team plays on Sunday. All 12 teams play. So good job, WNBA, putting all your games on Sunday when the NFL is on. But yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow, man. Enjoy your Friday. I'm out.